If you thought the Baby Groot marketing was bad, wait till we get to talk about these fucking porgs from Star Wars.
It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superhero Slate. It's a modern podcast where we talk about everything that's great, like movies, TV, superheroes. It's Superhero Slate. Oh yeah.
Hello everyone and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris Dillard.
And my name's Mike Royer.
And this week, Deadpool 2 will make you a cable subscriber.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. Well, let's calm down a little bit. Disney and Netflix might break up, Mike.
Okay.
Oh, no. Avoid Defenders and Star Wars spoilers. That's the command.
Shield your eyes. Shield your ears.
Shield your mouth. Don't say anything. And more.
So I will give you a pass on that cable pun, just because when I was working on a title for our thumbnail, I did explore the idea of cable, Netflix, and Disney, because it's like, oh, cable, so it's all right. I'll let it pass. I'll let it slide, man.
It was all there. We were on the same path. It all lined up. All the news today, it's like it has some sort of weird thread through everything, so it's going to be weird.
I feel like there's going to be lots of business talking today. We're going to be speculating a lot about what billion-dollar businesses are thinking about, like we have any idea.
Well, the thing is, I've got to say, some of our fans have actually told me they enjoyed the part where we talk about the politics behind movies in the studios more so than dealing with the politics on their Facebook feeds. So I'm glad I guess we have a little bit of insight into this world is at least, making people a little happy. So
yeah, it is kind of weird because being out here on the West Coast, it's not, I don't want to say it's an imminent fear, but there is that idea that North Korea might have that nuclear bomb that could land on me and just vaporize your co-host. And then, my wife was just like, oh, I read an article today on what we should do if there's nuclear fallout. And I just kind of lean over and be like, oh, did you know that Josh Brolin's photo for Deadpool came out? And she's just like, what are you talking about? I was like, this is what I care about.
We have an outlet to keep ourselves distracted from the real problems of the world. And at the end of the day, that's really what matters.
That is the truth, because there is so much bad stuff happening out there.
Well, that's okay.
This is where we thrive.
We're going to talk about the good things in life today. Like, I'm going to bring up how I bought what I consider a very rare pop vinyl over the weekend.
Ooh, this is like the one thing that pop vinyl strives to do, is to get people to look for those rare ones, because it's kind of like that comic book collecting fad. After comic books really took off, everyone's like, buy every comic book there is, it might be money. I feel like some people do that with pop vinyls, or they literally buy every pop vinyl, and the inside of like their apartments or their basements look like a Hot Topic.
Yeah,
it's just like, well, I don't see a theme here. What's your theme? You're just buying everything.
It's pretty like, people will do that. They'll buy them all, and then hopefully they become what's called retired. I think Beanie Babies did this too, where they just stopped producing that model. Recently, they've stopped producing a couple of them, but I was able to get an old Marvel one of Doctor Doom.
Ooh, cool.
He's technically, I think, number 17 of the Marvel universe, and he goes, if I'm looking online here, anywhere from $100 to $220.
Oh, nice.
And I did not pay that much for him. I will definitely tell you, it was much less than that. So it's definitely kind of cool to be able to get what's called this grail, like this grail pop that I've been out there getting, trying to find to complete my collection. Because Marvel, comics doesn't want to do anything to do with Fantastic Four, so we're just gonna have to deal with what we got. And thankfully, this is not the movie version of Fan Four Stick, Doctor Doom. It's the comic book version.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
But so, I'm out buying pop vinyls, Mike. You were talking something about some sort of cheese you had this weekend?
Yeah, cheese, man. So, Chipotle, the burrito restaurant that I'm sure everybody already knows about, they started introducing queso onto their menu, because apparently people have been really clamoring for this stuff. And for the longest time, they were holding back, because I guess queso doesn't quite meet the standards of Chipotle, which does make sense, because I don't know if you have been fortunate enough to go to a Qdoba and a queso before. I assume you have.
Yeah,
So,
yesterday for lunch actually. So
my experiences with the two is when you go into a Qdoba, it's always just like a hot mess. Like the line of food is like there's always like lettuce everywhere. Like the employees are always all over the place. The food's just fine, but they got queso there, and they got like the normal type of queso that you would expect that if you would buy from a grocery store out of like a giant can. You know, it's fake cheese, but I like fake cheese, so it's okay. But we have a lot more Chipotles out here than we do Qdobas for sure. So they started getting queso. So I went and I bought some, and I tried it out, and the consensus is it's pretty good. It's a lot
pretty
like,
good. All right, that's straight to the point.
It's a very different style of queso, and I can't believe I'm talking about this right now into so much depth.
We had to start another show based on just cheese.
But have you ever made like your own cheese sauce for like macaroni and cheese before?
Oh yeah, like with the milk and the butter and
and the flour. Like you start with that roux and stuff.
Yeah.
And when you make your cheese sauce, it's smooth and kind of stringy and silky, but it does have that slight graininess to it. Like it doesn't matter like how well you make your cheese sauce, it's always going to have that little bit of flour grain to it, and that's what this queso has. So at least when you're dipping a chip into it, it definitely feels like somebody was making it somewhere. It doesn't necessarily feel like a giant factory machine was putting it together, even though it might have been. So like when you're eating it, you almost feel like I could pour this on top of like some macaroni right now and make like some queso mac and cheese, which actually sounds like really good, and I would like to try it. But you know, so if you have the opportunity to get it, I would give it a shot. Some people are like saying it's like grainy and they need to fix it, and I think they probably maybe will dial back some of the graininess, because what people really want in queso is they don't want like high-end, like fancy, like Chipotle style farm raised cheese. They just want like that neon like fake stuff, you know.
The neon fake, yeah. Like, I mean, to me, whenever I get my cheese sauce from the movie theater, it's like that bright yellow nacho cheese kind of thing.
You gotta be able to see it in the dark, man.
Yeah. So exactly, and you know, it's got to be very unhealthy for you and leave like kind of like a nice film on your teeth. You're like, oh yeah, I was eating cheese. So yeah. I mean, I actually, speaking of Qdoba, I had a taco. I didn't do a burrito. I got their tacos, the knockout tacos, and I got this. It's called the Two Timer, and it's a soft shell covered in queso with a hard shell in the middle. So the cheese was holding the tacos together. And
see, you're just not going to get that type of innovation at Chipotle.
No. So to me, I say in times of this, you know, people, you know, fighting in the world, look to the cheese. Look to the queso to bring us all together.
Chris, you just know what to do.
Cheese brings everyone together, Mike. I mean, we're here talking about it right now on this show about superheroes. I mean, the only superhero I can think of that has to deal with cheese is the Stinky Cheese Man, and I don't even think he's a superhero. I think he's just like some sort of fable or story or something like that. So I don't know. Now I'm hungry. Thanks a lot, Mike. So,
now we're hungry.
Other than your cheese, anything else happened this weekend?
I think the only other thing of note was I went to an outdoor screening in someone's backyard for Galaxy Quest. So that was pretty cool. He was this nice guy that built his own screen outside. So the frame was made out of PVC pipe. He had stretched basically a white bed sheet over it, and he rear projected it. So I think when you rear project something, you kind of have to have somewhat transparent screen. So that was pretty cool. The movie obviously is good. I've seen it before. Everybody loves Galaxy Quest. But the thing that stood out to me this time was how much like dedication that was put into the bad guy in the movie. I don't remember his name. But his costume, his makeup is like amazing. It's like all practical. Like the fins on his back like slide up when he gets angry, and that's like all a mechanical process. Like his whole face moves and everything still with all the makeup that he has on him. But yes, and his little top feelers, they move around just kind of like independently. So if you're ever watching Galaxy Quest, just give that costume like a second look over. It's really awesome. That would be an amazing cosplay.
So like, you know, really get into it and look at the details of it is what you're trying to say here.
I don't remember his name, but he was like the green kind of like bug cricket looking person.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
there you go. That's my weekend. Cheese and Galaxy Quest.
Was it Mantis from Guardians 2? Are you confusing them with Mantis?
No, but that movie did just come out this week, didn't it?
It did. It's one of our topics later, so we'll talk about Guardians later.
I'm jumping the gun here.
Man, just look at the notes. Look to the notes for guidance, Mike.
I am looking at them right now.
That's good, because we're going to start up with our notes and our news for this week with Deadpool 2. We know you're all here for it. I actually kind of forgot that this was this week. It feels like it was a month ago, if I'm going to be honest, because we've had so much news this week. First and foremost, Josh Brolin is Cable. We get to see almost a full-body outfit here. He's got a big-ass gun, a big metal arm, and a teddy bear. And I got to tell you, if I was to say anyone was pulled off the page and turned into a live-action version, Cable nailed it. Like they nailed it with this character, Mike. What do you think?
Yeah, man. Well, it's kind of weird because I'm always looking forward to first looks at costumes of characters. And like you said, this does look like it's peeled right off the page, and I believe we said almost an identical thing when Deadpool's costume was revealed. So it's almost like there's not a whole lot to talk about because there's not really any controversy here. There's not really any sort of like, oh, I can't believe they went with this idea, instead of doing this original idea. He's got the metal arm, he's got the scars on his face, he's nailing the haircut. I think the only thing that they didn't do was make entirely kind of half of his face mechanical. They kind of just limited it to like his coming up his neck. So, but I think that works. I mean, they're obviously not going to just throw half that shit on his face.
Yeah,
I would imagine maybe there's a point in the movie where he gets like maybe part of his face blown off, and maybe you could see underneath it a little bit more, kind of like in the Terminator movies.
Well, I don't think he has a metal face. I think it's just the arm and it starts to come up. I don't think in any of the comics he had a metal face.
Well, I thought like the technovirus kind of started to migrate up his face a little bit more. I don't know. I'd have to go refer to the source material, I guess.
Yeah, I think it depends on who's drawing it. So this far away thing shows a lot here. A lot of people are assuming the teddy bear means Hope Summers will be referenced in this, and she definitely has been. The metal arm is obviously mostly going to be CG, I believe. But I think from what I've seen on set photos, the stuff going up his neck is actually painted on there and will be touched up later. So,
oh, cool.
Definitely. I mean, I would not want to fight this guy. I don't want to fight this guy. And that brings us to a first closer up photo where he's telling us to be quiet. And we get to see his faded X scar over his eye and has a scarred face and his glowing eye kind of going on there, where he what he uses, I believe he has psychic abilities because his mother's Jean Grey, to suppress the techno-organic virus in his body. So he has to keep it activated all the time to keep that suppressed. So that's why his eyes glowing most of the time when he's using it.
Man, he looks so badass. Josh Brolin is I think he's really loving being outside of the CG because he's just being motion captured pretty much for Thanos. So I'm glad he's back in front of the camera.
Oh yeah, I mean there is nothing wrong with this, and what I really enjoy is I don't have any links here because I don't think they're nearly do us justice, but this was released on Monday, and then they started filming with him outside, so you got the on-set photos after they showed that he was going to be what he looked like, and I think that's a smart thing for studios to do, show us what they're going to look like before we get the bad on-set photos that everyone's like, what are we gonna do? How's this really gonna look? So
I'm curious when the Deadpool marketing is really gonna kick in, because this is one of the few times where people are looking forward to the marketing of a movie. We get it a little bit with the shushing thing, the playful shush, and last week when we had Domino laying on the Deadpool skin rug. But it's gonna be interesting to see when it's really gonna start to kick off. I don't think there's any other big characters left to reveal. I mean, maybe they'll do just another shot of Colossus to kind of do here are the characters in the movie, but you've seen them before, and just kind of shoot those out real quick. But I think we've got our two new ones right here,
Yeah, exactly. And I think they're going to have to be a big part of the movie. Because I don't even think they showed us Colossus for a while. But yeah, I'm really excited for Deadpool 2. We got it's filming now. It'll be out next summer. So I mean, we're moving right along on terms of superhero movie releases.
All right.
Another one that's coming out next year, since Fox is I think putting out 3 next year, is X-Men: Dark Phoenix, and just kind of confirm here, Toad and Ink from Days of Future Past will be returning into this movie. Do you remember them from Days of Future Past?
I mean, I remember Toad from the earlier X-Men movies.
Okay.
But Toad was in Days of Future Past?
Yeah, so when in Days of Future Past, when Mystique goes to get Havoc at the military base, I think it was Vietnam, there was a tent full of mutants. Toad was one of them. Ink was the other one. He has tattoos that like can create power. Like his powers come from his tattoos, kind of thing.
Okay.
So, and then Havoc was in there. I don't think there was a fourth one, but
all right.
So they're supposed to come back because this is kind of leading into possibly the first X-Men movie where the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants does exist.
All right.
So that's going on.
Yeah, it's hard to get me. It's hard to get me excited about this Dark Phoenix movie.
Yeah, well, especially when they keep throwing so many characters in it. So
yeah.
But I like the idea of aliens going off of Earth. Hopefully, aliens are big, huge. Aliens will be big next year. So we got that going. Also, in terms of Fox, Fox has produced a lot of movies under from Mark Millar, including Kingsman and Kick-Ass. But Mark Millar's company, where he creates these comics, Millarworld, has been bought out by Netflix this week.
Ooh. Whoa.
So,
wow.
y'all right there? You okay?
Yeah. I mean, this is a big deal because it's one of Netflix, I believe, first acquisition of a company. Like, this is the first time Netflix has bought anything with IP. And
this is, I believe, if I have this correct, the third time in comic book history, like a comic book company was purchased on this level. I think Marvel and DC are the first two, because I don't think Vertigo has been bought out by a company. So this is huge because I mean, Mark Millar he writes books that essentially are like storyboards for movies. And so one of our favorite movies, Kingsman, was written by Mark Millar. And he's got Kingsman 2. Kick-Ass, if you like it or not, that's up to you. I don't care either way. And he's also done great material, including he created Old Man Logan for Marvel, and he wrote the original Civil War for Marvel back in 2005. However, I've named all these things. None of these materials are coming to Netflix because he doesn't own the rights to those. They've already been optioned out there. So other than that, Mike, do you know any other Mark Millar comic books or things under his banner?
I mean, I can't think of anything off the top of my head because the only ones I know are the ones that have been out there. It would be interesting to think maybe if Netflix could court the idea of like maybe a Hit Girl TV series or something like that. I know that they had that Hit Girl comic running, but I don't know. Maybe Fox still owns the rights to that.
Yeah, I believe if it's still out there, they still own the rights. I think recently he wrote a series called Chrononauts. Which is a buddy comedy about these two friends who create a working time machine, and then then they go back and actually accidentally screw with all of history. So it's a funny comic book, but if Netflix is going to put money into Bright, Will Smith's fantasy adventure movie, Chrononauts would be on that level of what they could transition there as well.
Yeah, it is kind of weird because the whole reason that you buy somebody else's IP is because it's already out in the world and it has a fan base established. So when you eventually turn it into a movie or a TV series, it's a lot easier to kind of get the hype train running. But with Millarworld, there's going to be fans out there for the stuff he's writing, but the general public is not going to know kind of what Millar is putting out there in the world. So I hope it works out for Netflix.
Yeah, I think so. And that also includes that anything he creates going forward, they own the company now. So anything he creates can be created into a Netflix show or a Netflix series. One of the most popular shows, a series he has, and is called Superior. And it's kind of like a take on the Shazam story, like this 12-year-old kid suffering from multiple sclerosis. This being gives him the opportunity to become a superhero straight out of the comic books. So there's several ways that they can. I guess Netflix could imitate the current superhero world, make movies and shows, and adapt them from this stuff, which already has a huge ground basis going forward. So so there's that, and I think there's another series that came out recently. My comic at the comic book store, the guy who handles comic books, Mitch, really loved it, called Huck. And it's about a guy who has Superman kind of powers, but he doesn't want to be known for. He doesn't want to be famous. He wants to be just help small people in a small town and be an anonymous good guy. So it's like Smallville without the kryptonite and freaks of the week kind of thing.
all right,
so,
I got
so there's a bunch of series that he's written that are ripe for translation, and I guess I'm glad Netflix would buy them before some studio buys them and kind of maybe ruins them or does their own thing with them. But
yeah, especially since a bigger movie studio is going to expect very large returns at the box office, whereas Netflix, you don't necessarily have to worry so much about all that.
Yeah, and I think something with that is, however, I say I don't want them to ruin it. Have you ever read the comic of Kingsmen?
No, I haven't read the comic.
No, I can't read it. It's so boring and flat.
No.
That the movie is so much better. Like the movie transcends the actual material. Mm-hmm. So there are good situations where that can come out of. But yeah, I think that's okay. I think maybe did Mark Millar do Wanted? I don't know.
I think so.
I'm gonna have to look this up.
I want to say he did, but we better hope that Netflix can pull off this IP because it sounds like they're going to be losing some.
Yeah, I don't even know if IP as a whole company. So I guess hopefully they can still sell comic books on the side as well, and keep that part up. But that's because they're gonna really need it, and I know you're leaning into this next topic pretty heavy here. Netflix might be breaking up with Disney in the next couple of years, and that means a lot of people are like, oh, Disney's pulling their stuff from Netflix. Well, Disney's not pulling it from Netflix. Their contract with Netflix ends in 2019. And they're going to make their own streaming service.
Yeah, so this is kind of like a whole lot to unpack here. So right now, Disney, I believe they kind of have their stuff kind of all over the place because you got to look at everything that filters down from Disney because you got Disney, you got Marvel, you got like Pixar, you got all that other stuff. So, you got some stuff over at Hulu with the Runaways. You got stuff on Netflix. So it's like they're kind of going to be like, oh, let's bring all these babies back home and put it onto one service. And it kind of makes sense. I won't necessarily say whether I like the idea or not quite yet, but it makes sense. Like when Disney announced that they were going to be putting their movies on Netflix, maybe a year or two ago. I have to say I was a little surprised because like Disney is like the prettiest girl at the dance. Disney doesn't have to dance with just anybody. People are coming to them. They don't have to go out and put their stuff out there. So I was surprised that they would even want their stuff out there streaming because it's like if you want to watch a Disney movie or a Marvel movie, you just go out and buy it. I was surprised that they were going to kind of put it out there to stream.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and nip your comments in the bud here a little bit. Marvel and Star Wars are not a part of this.
Oh, they will be eventually. They will be eventually.
But the 2019 is purely Disney in and of itself. So I assume that's probably their movies and TV shows. Maybe ABC, maybe Freeform, maybe. So, because a lot of people brought up, what about the Defenders? Like, what happens to the Defenders in the Netflix? Well, Netflix owns half of that show. Disney can't just pull it from Netflix. So I don't think they're wanting to make any. I don't think they're trying to make a big stink with Netflix about this. I think it's something else going on here in the background.
Yeah, well, I think it's a little bit of a slow transition because the other note that we have here is that because Disney bought basically the streaming tech service, I believe it's called BAMtech is what we have in the notes.
BAMtech.
I don't think anyone would know that name. There's no reason for you to necessarily know that name. But this kind of goes into this whole other like ESPN thing that they're trying to do that we can talk about. But the whole reason that they're buying this company is so they can create their own streaming service. So they're building something from the ground up. It doesn't just seem like they're going out to somebody and say, "Hey, can you make us a streaming website real quick so we can throw our stuff up on there?" It's like, no, they're building something from the ground up. They want to own the technology, which basically says to me that they're in it for the long haul. So if they have all of these contracts out there in the world with their different types of stuff like Star Wars and like Marvel, they're going to say like, hey, we're building a mothership. Eventually all of this stuff is going to come back to us and we're going to have all this awesome content out there to stream. Now, so is this a good thing or a bad thing? So this is the argument that's really been bugging me. A lot of people out there have been complaining that there's too many streaming services. They're like, there's too many. I have to subscribe to so many right now, and I can't keep track of all this. I just wish somebody eventually would just bundle all these streaming services together so I could just pay for one thing. And I just want to slap them in the face and go, no, that's cable. You don't want that. Like, eventually they're gonna insert commercials into that service, and you're just gonna be back to cable television again. Except it's gonna be coming through the internet, and it's not gonna be coming through the cable. So I just don't That is not your problem. Like, the nice thing about with these streaming services, you can drop them and pick them up whenever you want. If you don't want to pay for all these extra streaming services, just pay for them when you need them. Like, if you watch HBO just for, like, Game of Thrones, just only pay for it when Game of Thrones is on air. And then maybe bring it back only when Westworld is on air. You know, it's on HBO's side of things to make sure they're producing something, like, 12 months out of the year.
Well, in the realm of binging, like, you know, I know you didn't watch Westworld until it was done, right? So you only had to technically buy HBO for a month, and you can catch up on all your shows for that year. The thing with this is, like, Disney, if a lot of people like old Disney movies, well, it's not, Disney has more than just movies. Disney owns a shit ton of stuff. But we own 95% of the Disney movies. We own 100% of the Marvel movies, and all but Rogue One of Star Wars movies. What is the streaming service going to offer people who buy the stuff? You know,
exactly.
Like us. So I think this is going to be like, oh, it's not going to be like Disney streaming. Like, they're going to call it something like Netflix or Hulu, and it'll just be owned by Disney, is what I'm thinking.
I think they'll be making original content for the streaming service too, because I think that's how you incentivize people to use it. And I think it would be kind of cool, because imagine, like, it's like two types of scenarios. You could be like the Disney fan like you guys are and go out and buy everything, and technically you own all, like, the digital accesses to all this stuff. Or if the full catalog is out there streaming, like, I could have the exact same catalog that you guys have out there for just, maybe like $15 a month. I don't know what Disney's going to charge, but I don't want to say...
It'll be a premium for sure.
Yeah, I don't want to say I hate the idea, but it's just like, it's hard to complain with all of the options and choice. Like, if people are getting flustered with how to organize all this stuff, like, just get an Apple TV. Like, that's exactly what that piece of hardware does, is it organize all the streaming services under one roof. And I haven't really had a whole lot of opportunity to use it, but you can correct me if I'm wrong, but don't they kind of put everything under one roof, so sometimes you're not even really sure what you're watching it on? Like, you don't even care. Like, oh, I want to watch Moana. You ask the Apple TV to serve you up Moana, and it might just be playing it from your iTunes library. Maybe it's streaming it from a service out there. It goes out and finds it for you, right?
So, so it will show you everywhere you can currently get that TV show or movie. Whether it's renting from iTunes, buying from iTunes, playing from your own iTunes library if you already own it, Netflix, so on and so forth. So it pulls it all together from every app that you own, I think, and maybe even some that you don't own in case you want them. I think a lot of people, a lot of companies, like, if you have a complaint about this whole stuff, it's a lot of streaming companies need to get on the same fucking playing field, because I want to try this Redbox service. Like, they gave me some free Redbox streaming, like Redbox on demand.
Oh, I didn't even know they were doing that.
Yeah, I don't know how to do. Like, where do I watch it at? I don't want to watch Redbox on my phone or on my tablet. Like, where's the app for this where I can watch it on my Xbox or on my Apple TV? Like, I can't. Is there, when there's not an app for it for my television, you've lost me, and I'm on to the next thing already. And one of the things, you know, I mean, if like you said, people are complaining about this, you probably need to cut some services out you're not using. Like, I haven't probably used Netflix since Iron Fist. If I was
oh wow, really?
Yeah, because we have we use the streaming DirecTV, which gives us access to a bunch of other like almost the same movies Netflix has.
That's right, because I forgot you haven't cut the cord, so you still have that option.
Well, we cut a cord. We don't have any cord. It's all online. So it's like on-demand TV and viewing.
Yeah, you have like the proverbial DirecTV cord. Yeah, it's there, but it's not there.
Yeah, it's definitely not, because we use a lot. Like, it came with HBO, so we watch. I can go into HBO's movie library and pull them from the DirecTV app, kind of thing. There's just there are a ton of options, but I think Disney will be able, since they're building the infrastructure with BAMtech and doing this ESPN thing as like a test run next year. I think they'll be ready for it whenever they want to launch their thing.
Yeah, it's like kind of the law of economics. Don't complain about choice out there, people. Like, yeah, I know it's annoying that your Disney movies are leaving Netflix, but I mean, this is like good. This is going to force Disney to make original content, to make their streaming service work. We might get whole new shows on this service. Like, it's not a bad thing. Like, you always want the opportunity to vote with your wallet. So like if everybody hates what Disney's doing and nobody pays for it, they'll put their stuff back on Netflix, you know. So that's great that you have that opportunity to do that. So it's good. I'm okay with the idea. It doesn't hurt me too much. And still, even if you had all the streaming services, it's still cheaper than cable. So
yeah, at the end of the day, you can pick and choose and build kind of what you want. And also Netflix is talking to Disney about working as a complementary service to this, so they may not lose everything. They may keep a lot of stuff, and you know Disney will just have maybe more options. Because I mean, there are hundreds and hundreds of Disney movies out there. Like most people think princess movies. There are other ones like the live action ones, like the original Nutty Professor, stuff like that from like the 60s plus, where like people just don't remember them or.
Yeah, and if Disney ever had a long-term plan of leaving stuff on Netflix, I mean, the people have already kind of talked about this a little bit, but Netflix would have just been bought by Disney. Yeah. Like, I think Disney thought about doing that for a while, so, like, yeah, Disney doesn't just, like, play. They freaking buy companies up.
So, I'm on the same part as you. This is not a bad thing. People are blowing out. Disney's not mad at Netflix, and they're just yanking them off the shelves. Like it's not like that. Like they're like Disney's pulling. No, they're not. They're leaving their contracts up. They're going on to the next thing.
It's interesting news.
Yeah, it definitely is. But until then, I'm going to keep watching my Netflix, especially this Friday, because we get the Defenders on there. And are you ready for the Defenders, Mike?
Dude, it sneaks up on me. These Netflix Marvel shows always sneak up on us. I think it's because we don't have a whole lot of marketing blitz when it comes to Netflix, you know. I haven't seen any Defenders billboards around town, I don't believe. So as far as I know, it's not out yet.
It is. And you know, we talked about this. The series is coming out this Friday, 8 episodes. We got our final trailer, which is trailer number 3, finally, today, the week before. And if this had been a movie, we would have had trailer 3 like 3 months ago. And you know, it reuses a lot of the same footage we've seen as well.
They're getting a lot of use out of that one hallway, that white hallway fight scene. So I'm crossing my fingers that is in the very first episode, and we kind of just get that out of the way, because I feel like we've seen all the cool stuff in that fight scene already. You know, like Iron Fist like jumping off the walls and stuff like that. So hopefully that gets out of the way, and we get the ball rolling with episode 2 with stuff we haven't seen.
Yeah, so we definitely have that. And then also, you know, since it's 8 episodes, and a lot of people don't have the ability to either take off work, watch stuff at work, or, you know, binge watch 8 episodes in a day, don't spoil the show for anybody online.
Yes, please.
And even Netflix has made this goofy-ass promo called, like, Objection, a Defend Against Spoilers, with Matt Murdock saying objection every time they were fake doing spoilers on the couch.
I appreciate the sentiment, but it's kind of cheesy. But I like the idea that they're trying. They're trying. Usually we do a spoiler cast about a week after the show comes out to give people a chance to catch up. But I don't know. I think maybe I'll check in with you maybe on Saturday to see how far we get. Maybe the spoiler cast will come out of Superhero Slate as early as next weekend. I don't know.
I mean, I'm feeling pretty good about 8 hour-long episodes is a lot easier to digest than 13.
Yeah.
So normally I think it was like 8 one weekend and then, you know, the remaining 5 over the week. So we can probably crank it out next weekend. So we're definitely gonna try to get that spoiler cast out next weekend for you guys. That way you're not lingering around waiting for it. So I don't know. I feel good about it. I feel good, Mike.
Yeah. This is going to be a big deal. This is going to be awesome.
It is going to be a big deal. And another thing that's coming out later this year that Mike says, no spoilers, please,
yes,
is Star Wars The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
And even so far as Mark Hamill, you said, is saying watch out for spoilers online, get off the internet for the next 6 months.
He's saying, and I believe him and the director, they're saying avoid the marketing out there. I guess if you have a vigilant eye, you can kind of start to discern things from the plot of the movie based on the marketing that's going to be pushed. So they're saying avoid it.
So Mike has put me as gatekeeper of the Star Wars information. And I know what they're talking about, actually. There are some, like, children's books that are starting to hit the shelves with descriptions of what's going on in the movie, like the movie's plot.
No.
And so I did read a couple of them.
Of course you did.
Well, I have to know what spoilers are not, Mike, for your sake. I'm doing this for you.
Oh, thank you.
And so we have some Entertainment Weekly photos coming up, like that we're going to talk about here, and none of these are any of the spoilers they were talking about just yet. So
yeah, well, I'm glad they're not, because I had already looked at these already. Because usually photos, especially that come to magazines, are usually okay to look at, you know, because it's just kind of like what's the prettiest looking stuff we've taken like pictures of. So
and they've also been filtered probably through several audiences that says yes, this is not a spoiler. Go ahead and publish it. So first up, we get a good look at Rey with her lightsaber on the Entertainment Weekly. Her hair seems to have gotten a little longer, and she's wearing some traditional Jedi robes, it looks like. Is it just me, or did like the lightsabers look worse over time? Like I miss the original lightsaber looks.
I don't know. Are you talking about the hilt itself or the blade?
The blade.
I don't know. I think maybe this is just the compositing for this image. Who knows? Like maybe a photographer composited the blade in, whereas like usually it's like a CG person. We don't know. It's
also not in motion. I guess I'm used to a lot of lightsabers in motion. So there's that. But I mean, other than that, looks pretty straightforward. She's on her island. There's a lot of water, a lot of rocks back there. The movie will also answer her parentage questions, they've said.
All right. We'll finally know.
We don't have to wait several more years to figure out what's going on there. And then the double cover shows Mark Hamill in some tattered robes looking into the camera all seriously. So,
he looks so good as Old Man Luke. He's just pulling it off, man.
Yeah, he's got the the goatee beard going on there. It's very dark, like something's on his mind, man, and we don't know what it is yet. So definitely looking forward to see Mark Hamill's return as Luke Skywalker finally after all these years. And then we've got a couple more images kind of to scroll through here, just to go through, get a first look at Kylo Ren. That scar is going down his neck, it looks like now. Like he got tore up by that lightsaber fight in the last movie. Poe Dameron, I believe this is Finn. I think he's flying one of those things on the red planet.
I like how you say you believe this is Finn. No, I'm pretty sure it's Finn.
Yeah, well, he may have a new name eventually. I don't know. And then some sort of outdoor Star Wars building that looks like a Star Wars building because it's round and has lights from the bottom.
This almost looks like concept art for like Star Wars Land or something. Like, is this coming to a theme park?
Yeah, it looks very real. It looks like they got the same guy. But I think the most talked about thing are going to be the next two creatures that live on the planet Luke is on. I believe the planet's like Ak-2 or something like that. So we have this little bird-looking thing with a very concerned eyes and a frown called a porg.
Really? I'm surprised that you go with the bird analogy. It kind of looks more like a groundhog to me.
I think they say they're like penguins, like fuzzy penguins, like furry penguins.
All right.
So I mean, I could totally see it, like if you don't see the wings, he looks like he's just like a whack-a-mole kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna assume it emotes a lot because it looks like it's a very small creature. It looks like it's kind of propped up on a dashboard.
I think it's the Millennium Falcon if you look in his eye.
Yeah, so I would imagine that this thing could be really easily made practically, but if it's going to be emoting a lot and selling lots of toys, it's got to be CG.
I've already seen the toys online for this thing. They've got the boxes. You can buy your own little porg.
Porg. And it's such like a poignant like little name too. We're gonna sell so many fucking porgs this year, man.
Yeah. It's like the Star Trek Tribble. Porg is the Star Wars Tribble. So they've got that going on. And then there's these other creatures called the Caretakers who live on the planet as well. And they keep the buildings and structures intact on this planet, apparently.
These things are cool. I like these things.
Yeah, they're all female, and they're supposed to look like nuns, which they kind of do. So
yeah, I think it's fine. I think a lot of people forget how important kind of like the weird creatures are in Star Wars. Because when you think Star Wars, you're always thinking lightsabers, you're thinking the humans, you're thinking the battles. Sometimes you think about the weird looking Jedis with like weird shaped faces and tentacles coming off their heads. But like you kind of forget, like, yeah, this is a whole galaxy filled with lots of different creatures. Not everyone looks like a human. So I kind of like these like things. They look like they just kind of like saunter around, and they're just kind of like gentle beings. And I like that I can just get all of that just out of their design, looking at them, and they're kind of like nun robes. I don't really have any problems with this, but this porg thing, I don't know, man. I saw someone online that says, I hope Chewbacca eats it, and I was like, oh, that'd be amazing to have like this cute little thing on screen, and as Chewbacca decides to devour it. I don't think that's going to happen, but I think that would be pretty cool.
One Muppet looking creature devouring another Muppet looking creature.
Yeah, eat it.
So yeah, so I mean that's the Porgs and the Caretakers live on this planet here, and we'll probably see some of them. I do like the practical effects. I think it adds to it, like you said. It makes a world feel lived in and huge. So that's our Star Wars news. So if you're looking for some Christmas presents, start buying your Porgs now.
I can't wait to see BB-8 come back. He is my Star Wars cuteness, and that's where I want to get it from BB-8.
From BB-8, there you go. Well, hopefully we'll cross some fingers. Maybe we'll see a crossover eventually with Guardians of the Galaxy meets Star Wars. Probably not. But the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, as Mike said at the top of the show, is now available on digital release as of Tuesday. I believe they're playing it on repeat in my comic book store. I've seen it several times being in there. I don't think I've watched it at home since. Did you buy it yet, Mike?
I was going to, but we got caught in binging The Office, rewatching The Office on Netflix, so we're going to carve in some time, hopefully, between Game of Thrones and Rick and Morty to watch some of that. But that music video dropped, I think, after we recorded last week's episode, so we didn't get a chance to talk about that at all.
Yeah, so there's definitely a music video for Guardians Inferno, the song written by James Gunn, and I believe done by Tyler Bates, who did the soundtrack for the film. And they go balls to the wall 70s in this thing, and it's crazy.
Yeah,
it doesn't feel real, is what it doesn't feel. So
yeah, the best part about it is you get all of the actors in the music video. You would expect kind of just like something promoting the movie coming out on digital, release. Just let's get just the actors that we can. Oh, can we get Michael Rooker? Okay, get like one other person that was in the movie and fill this out. Like, no, we got everybody in there. And then towards the end of the music video, you're like, wait a minute, we haven't seen Chris Pratt, and you go like, oh yeah, Chris Pratt isn't in it because he's like super famous. He's doing like a million different like dinosaur movies right now. Probably he doesn't have time to come down to a studio and film like this weird esoteric music video, but then like no, he's at the very end. He was hidden inside the robot the whole time.
Well, it's even got Stan Lee in it. Like Stan Lee's got a cameo in this, and by cameo I mean he's like in it quite a bit. So
I have this cynical feeling that Stan Lee has been digitized now, and if he doesn't have a speaking role, they can cameo him in literally anything. Don't you think he's probably been digitized?
Oh yeah, definitely. I've also think they probably got his voice recorded. They've made him say all the right words so they can create any form of sentences out of it.
Dude, I listened to a podcast where they were talking all about this audio technology. Whereas if you can just get a solid like 40 minutes of someone talking, and because they said in about 40 minutes of someone talking, you get about all of the inflections of all the things that they can say. And they can churn out an algorithm and make you say anything that you want to say. And then the whole thing I was thinking was, we're putting up an hour of audio every week of us talking. Someone's really going to be able to recreate us.
I really hope so, Mike. Like we just type up the show notes. We highlight Mike says this, Chris says this, and then the podcast is made for every week. So
oh yeah, there you go. We don't have to get on the horn anymore.
And you've drawn us, so you've digitized us in just a different form. So
there you go.
We are all over the place. But Guardians 2's out. It's got a bunch of bonus features. I recommend you watch them and check them out. And that music video is a bonus feature, but it's online as well, so you can watch that. Another Chris Pratt thing that might have kept him busy is he's working on a movie called Cowboy Ninja Viking. And Universal has announced that it will be hitting theaters June of 2019.
Ooh.
And it's an Image Comics graphic novel, and it actually will be competing up against Fox's Untitled Marvel film, an Untitled DC film, Toy Story 4, and Transformers 7.
Ooh, that's going to be a tough month, man.
Do you think Transformers 7 is really going to happen?
I think it's going to. I think they're just looking at an equation right now. As soon as it dips under X amount of money, they'll stop making them, but they haven't gotten there yet, so keep churning them out.
I'm going to have to, while we're thinking about it, I'm going to pull up Transformers on the Box Office Mojo, because I was hearing on some shows I listened to the newest one, Transformers, I guess 6, it is, the last night made the least amount of money out of all of them. Like, it's finally a downturn here, so
it's still churning out millions, but I believe Cowboy Ninja Viking though is about I think it's like a character with multiple personalities, and I think Chris Pratt has the personality of a cowboy, a ninja, and a Viking. And I think he's like recruited to like fight crime or recruited to work for a government agency. I'm not entirely sure, but I think that's kind of like the gist of the movie.
Yeah. There's a whole series, or I guess a bunch of patients who are a counterintelligence unit who have multiple personality disorder. So they're called triplets, and because he's got 3 personalities, and he has to stop the rogue triplets who will also have other personalities. So if you head over to Wikipedia, it will tell you the characters and their 3 personalities like that they have. So like this one guy is a conquistador, a green beret, and a surfer. Another guy is a pirate, a gladiator, and an oceanographer.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know much about the source material, but I mean, it sounds like it's going to be really funny, but also since you're talking about multiple personalities, it sounds like maybe you're going to be talking about mental health, so maybe there's going to be kind of like a more serious tone to this movie, so maybe it'll be a little bit of like a mixture of just like lightheartedness, but then, oh, don't forget that these people all have mental disorders, and we should feel a little bad for them.
Yeah, so like it's one of those things, like I think the guy who did it, AJ Lieberman, he worked on Batman, and he like felt Batman was way too serious, and he didn't want these to come off as that serious, so like once he got the concept down, like the humor stuff started rolling out, so that was pretty cool. Transformers 5 out of 6.
Oh yeah, I forgot that you were looking that up.
Yeah, I did look it out. Adjusted for ticket price inflation, total gross is 5 out of 6.
Oh, well, see, it's not
actually this includes what's not included in here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It has the animated movie in here, so it's only above the animated movie. I don't know which one is missing. There's too many Transformers movies, and I've lost track of who's where.
Well, they're still pulling in they're going to be making that franchise until it's dried into a husk.
Maybe this is Transformers 5 because I said it's Fast and Furious rules, where 5 is supposed to get good. Well, it's not gotten good. It's under Age of Extinction, which was like, I guess, the last one. So yeah, even globally, it's not doing so hot. So I don't know. We'll have to see how that goes. But hopefully Transformers dies off and we can get back to talking about good news. Like Ant-Man and the Wasp. Mike, I'm actually really kind of excited for Ant-Man and the Wasp. It's the first movie after Avengers 3. And we've got a couple of screenshots here from the thing. There's a van called the X-Con van, security consultation, that Scott Lang will be driving around. I think this is the van from the first movie. And do you get
it looks like it.
The X-Con reference? Wink, wink.
No, tell me.
Because Scott Lang is an ex-convict.
Oh, okay, I got you. It's a pun.
It is a pun. And in the comic books, Ant-Man worked on the Ant-Man Security Solutions van. So it's like a kind of a play off that a little bit.
Gotcha.
So it looks like instead of working regular stuff, he'll be doing security consultations with his shrinking abilities. So
well, I mean, that does make sense, right? So if he's kind of more of a blue-collar hero, I guess, he might need a full-time job when he's not working on the Avengers. So it makes sense of just like, oh, I'm qualified to protect your property with my security system because I am a professional at heisting. So I'm just going to do reverse engineer the heist and protect your shit.
Yeah, well, and he was never hired by the Avengers technically because he didn't sign the Accords and he was on Captain America's side. So
and who knows if he got paid or not?
Yeah, definitely probably didn't get paid. Never got those orange slices. And another image shows Michael Douglas back on set, so he just looks kind of confused as ever.
Well, I don't know if you can hear. What are they doing? Like ants.
So he's just looking very, very confused on set. So I don't know what he'll play, but I mean, it's cool that he got him back. I mean, I didn't expect him to come back if I was to be honest, really. So we'll see where that goes.
Man. He's cool, man.
He's down. He's hip with it. Avengers 4 has started filming. Production has started, and we have just an ominous glove with 4 fingers.
Whose glove do you think it is?
I think it's probably a Russo brothers glove because wherever we are is cold.
You don't think it's like a hero's glove or anything?
No.
Okay.
It's too wide to be look like a hero's glove. It looks like someone just bought a glove and put it on, kind of thing.
The Russo brothers are making some awesome stuff. I caught a little bit of Winter Soldier when I was picking up Chinese food. Because they had a TV inside their restaurant.
Oh, like this story is out of nowhere.
I think they had I think they were doing like FX movie download up on the screen, and they were playing Winter Soldier, and I was just like watching a little bit of it, and I was just like, man, I love this movie. I still think that Winter Soldier has probably got to be my favorite Marvel movie. Just so many good memories in the theater watching that.
Okay, well. That's good. So Russo brothers are doing that. The startup. So I mean, to me, from a production standpoint, I'm like, how much time are they spending making 4 and not editing 3? or because there's a team, they're splitting up duties kind of thing. So I don't know.
I mean, yeah, those editors that put those movies together, they're pros. So I'm pretty sure that they've done enough Marvel movies by now that maybe they don't necessarily need director input all the time. But there's 2 of them, Chris. So who knows? Maybe one of them's in the directing chair and one of them's in the editing chair.
Kevin Feige's doing all of it. Actually, he's got them. He's marionetting everybody. Like, these aren't real people. Like, he's just created them to do this.
Yeah, they're life model decoys. Those are real, man.
Those are real. He's got the Disney's got the money to make them. So we know that. Spider-Man: Homecoming. A little fun fact about the next one. Donald Glover would play a role if Miles Morales gets a spinoff in the Spider-Man universe. So
what, he's like verbally committed, said that he wants to do more stuff?
I believe so. And I believe like even the director came to him like, look, you're too old to play Miles Morales, but if you want to be in this movie to be his uncle, we'll put it in there. But if you don't say yes, we're not putting this part in the movie.
Okay,
So,
yeah, that'd be awesome. I mean, even when he was like at the spike of Donald Glover being in Spider-Man, he was still too old to play Miles. Like I don't think it ever would have happened. I mean, it's cool, but yeah, Donald Glover's awesome. He's got lots of irons in the fire, so I'm pretty sure he would have enough time to set aside like a smaller role like that.
Yeah, well, especially, I mean, we're 10 years off it before Miles Morales ever becomes Spider-Man.
Yeah,
so,
he's got to age into that uncle role.
Yeah, so and he's got like a nephew that could grow into that role. So it's just definitely interesting. Like they might be building this back world as we go. So
Donald Glover will probably have his EGOT by the time that movie rolls around.
Yeah. Yeah, he's also working on that Deadpool. I always forget he's working on the animated Deadpool series.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, it's gonna be so good.
So he's got some irons in Marvel's fires, like you said there. We got some news about Sony's Silver and Black movie as well. It seems,
okay, if you must.
Yeah, so it seems Felicia Hardy, the Black Cat, will be hunted by a character called Mindel/Gaunt. I don't know who this character is. When she steals something of his, that's like an enhancer for like people. So
Okay.
I think she's giving like this guy's giving enhancers to people. Hence why we'll see like the Scorpion and stuff like that. And Silver Sable will be chasing her because she wants to get back to this guy. So I don't know. It's this movie will feature Scorpion and Tarantula, which I assume will be enhanced by these things that people are making. So
Wow, so 2 characters that 2 villains that sound like they're going to be up against 2 heroes that we don't really have a whole lot of love for. So this is going to be an interesting movie, man.
yeah, it's something, man. I just need some facts. Like this rumors are just killing me here.
I mean, it could be cool, but it's just I can't trust Sony's track record. I mean, they just I don't hear good things that come out of Sony, so it's hard for me to like be excited about a standalone movie.
Yeah, it is, and I don't like. I guess why would they pick someone called the Tarantula when we have Spider-Man running around? Like, pick someone else here. Like, I don't know. So there's a lot going on with the Silver and Black movie, but it has to deal with 2 anti-heroes dealing with villains who are enhancing other people to give them animal-based nicknames or something.
Yeah, I think the whole time I'm just like thinking, how are they going to skirt around this whole idea of like the Marvel Universe kind of existing but not really existing, but Spider-Man exists, but do they know? Does Silver Sable and Black Cat know about Iron Man? Can they make Iron Man references because he was in the Spider-Man movie, but they can't make Captain America references because technically that was Civil War? I don't know.
No, he was in there because he was in those training tapes.
Oh yeah, he was in the training videos. Well, I guess maybe they can't talk about Falcon. I don't know.
Man,
who can they talk about? I just want to know who's going to be brought up in conversation.
That's the least thing I care about. I just want to know like who. What is this movie about? What are you doing? Give us something.
Is it even going to get made? Because I think Sony just lost more money on the Dark Tower. So do they have the money to fund this?
Dark Tower and Emoji Movie. That's a 1-2 punch right there.
Whew. I think they're barely paying rent with that Spider-Man Homecoming paycheck.
Yeah, they got another month out of them. But that's okay because they're making Venom movie, Mike. Yeah, with Tom Hardy as Venom.
Okay.
Riz Ahmed from Rogue One is up for a role in the film. The one role that everyone believes he's going to be he's up for Carnage. So he would play the villain Carnage. Another role that someone brought up later was like he could be the Chameleon. I don't know why anyone would put the Chameleon in the Venom movie. So I definitely think Carnage will be the answer I'm going to go with. Do you think he could pull off a villain? I don't know Ahmed from much other films. I don't
know. It's just putting Carnage in there. That's so many symbiotes in one movie when we haven't even had a good symbiote on screen yet. So it's just a whole lot to take in, Chris. So I just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't know either. So I'm pulling up Riz Ahmed's filmography here, and seeing Jason Bourne. I don't remember him in Jason Bourne. He was in Nightcrawler. Did you see Nightcrawler?
That was the
Gyllenhaal film.
Yeah, Gyllenhaal. Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, do you remember him in there? He's someone.
Rick? Yeah. So he was kind of the scrappy guy that said the title of the movie in Rogue One, right? He's like, "What's our call sign?" Then doesn't he say Rogue One?
Yeah. That's when you nudge your neighbor. I'm like, they said it.
I mean, I could possibly see him as a Cletus Cassidy character because Cletus is kind of supposed to be that skinny type of like gangly guy, and I think he was kind of like that. So, I mean, it could work. I just don't care about this Venom movie.
I don't either. This is one of the like Sony just shooting themselves in the foot here. So we'll see how it pulls off. On a surprising note, whenever we never thought we'd say we don't care about Venom, but man, are we excited for Aquaman. We have some images from the filming Aquaman right now, which doesn't come out till 2 Decembers away. We get a look at what looks to be Ocean Master's mech suit he is making in this film.
They're cool looking, man.
I don't know why Ocean Master needs a mech suit for Atlanteans, but damn, that looks awesome. Like
maybe Atlanteans in this DCEU are like literally like fish. Like when they're out of water, they have to be in like reverse scuba suits.
Oh, okay. So that I was thinking this was in water, not out of water. So yeah, you're definitely right. Yeah, you're actually right because that goes along with our second photo here from it's not Amber Heard, but it's definitely the stunt double playing Mara running from some Atlanteans on land. On some building tops here.
It's cool that they're in physical mech suits, though, because I just feel like a big studio would just be like, oh, let's just do it in post. Let's just throw them in there in CG. So, I mean, they look cool. This looks like it's going to be a cool chase sequence.
Yeah, they definitely feel alien, but also human at the same time. So that's really cool for the design choices. They've got that like burgundy reddish color to them, shiny, some fins on it, and stuff. Like if they can pull this off, there is no reason they cannot pull off a Halo movie. Because these look like the villains out of Halo.
Yeah, they do kind of look like that. But, man, as long as you got Jason Momoa in your movie, looking all charismatic as hell and, like, just having a good time, there's a good chance that everybody else is going to be excited for it.
Yeah.
You can't be excited for other DC movies when they just don't look like they're so happy.
So if you want to sell Mike DC movie tickets, put Jason Momoa in it and make sure he looks like he's having a good time.
Just have him play everybody.
Yeah. I think you're onto something here. But yeah, that's the reason I'm really excited for Justice League. I think he sells a lot of it. Like he's like, yeah, I'm here. I'm having fun. Aquaman's not the guy who's just calling like little fish, talking to fish anymore. Like we're having a good time. So Aquaman definitely on my radar for next year. I'm sad we have to wait until December of next year to get to it, but so be it. Some Justice League news and some images here, Mike. We're gonna wrap it up with some of this stuff here. We get our first look at Batman's flying fox vehicle, which stores apparently in the bottom is the hangar is the Batmobile. The second floor is like the command center, and the third floor is like the piloting area.
Jeez, he's doing a lot of excavation.
Yeah, big hole in the ground. It even says Wayne Technology on it, which why would you do that? Like. Thought it's supposed to be secret identity Batman. You're ruining it here. But this is concept art. This isn't really an image. Something cool I like to see the Flash has his blur about him, like he's always moving.
He's like, hey, I just showed up.
Yeah. Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Cyborg, and Batman. We're only missing one person here. Mike, who are we missing?
We're missing our mustachioed fellow Superman.
Yeah, that's right. You gotta have that mustache on your Superman here, but that's okay because I think even with the mustache being CGI'd off, there are some benefits of Joss Whedon taking over for Justice League here. The first and foremost, he is removing a cliffhanger ending from the original movie.
Oh wow!
That was left there. Originally, it ended with Darkseid arriving on Earth, and that was how Justice League 1 ended.
Oh wow! Okay, I wonder why they removed it, because it seems like the cliffhanger ending. I guess technically superhero movies don't 100% have cliffhanger endings. Usually they just kind of entice you more with a post-credit scene. So, yeah, it would be kind of weird to have like a cliffhanger, I guess.
Well, especially since Justice League 2 is so many years off as well, and several movies in between, you know. I think this has been because they're adding more Steppenwolf backstory and history in with it, and I think they're bringing in the Queen of Themyscira. I think Robin Wright to give more of that, and they're downplaying Darkseid's role in case they want to add some more characters, like maybe another villain in between.
Well, and also I could see maybe it's easy to say that the future of the DCEU is still kind of shaky. We don't know how long Ben Affleck's going to be Batman. We have a lot of unannounced movies that we don't know what the titles are for. They're staying claims on a lot of these dates. Wonder Woman's the only decent movie that has come out so far. So maybe they're just like, let's not reveal Darkseid so quickly because we don't really know 100% when we're going to kind of get him out there into the world. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a lot of questions that they had answers to, 4 years ago when they announced all this. And, if Snyder decides not to return, his Darkseid story may not work out very well. So I think they're removing that and downplaying it, and they could add some more people in. We've also got a really good rendering, an artist rendering here of the Steppenwolf face. And he is one ugly dude to look at.
He looks mean.
Yeah, he looks mean. He's got 2 claws for a chin. I mean, he's no Thanos, but, whatever. I mean, why compare him, Mike? Why compare him?
Well, technically, you should be comparing him to Darkseid, because I think that's kind of the assumption that they're making. Maybe Joss removed the Darkseid cliffhanger, because the last time Joss Whedon did that with a character, it was Thanos, and I think Thanos would kind of be considered a cliffhanger ending on the Avengers. It technically wasn't at the end of the movie. It was in a post-credit scene, but everybody was just like, whoa, who's this purple guy that just, like, turned around and revealed himself? So yeah, maybe Joss is just like, I don't feel like doing that again. So
yeah, well, I think also you don't introduce your biggest baddest villain right now the moment the movie ends when you have 4 other movies between here and the next one.
Yeah, especially since there's a chance your movie might not be any good. So.
Yeah, so it's good that I think that they're just saying, hey, let's pump the brakes on this a minute. We can tell them, we don't have to show them right away.
Man, I hope this movie's good. I just hope it doesn't suck. I want it to be good so bad.
I think it'll be fine as well, because there's also a lot of the extensive reshoots happening have been added to give an even tone to the Cyborg character, who in the trailers feels kind of, I guess, is pissy, to put it nicely. He didn't have any flavor, didn't have anything to him except looking like, as Mike said, a graphics card. So I honestly think they're trying really hard to do the best they can with this and knock it out of the park again. So I'm excited.
Cool.
I mean, to get me excited for Justice League, you got to do something good. You got to do something good.
I like that we have this wild card coming at the end of the year, because I have a strong feeling that I know I'm going to like Star Wars, or at least the very least the next Star Wars movies will be competent, because even Rogue One was competent on a certain level. I kind of like this big budget wild card. I don't really know what's going to happen.
Yeah, so we got Thor and then Justice League and Star Wars, and at least 2 of those 3 will be enjoyable. And
yes.
this one's kind of like, all right, maybe. So, yeah, I feel good about it. And lastly, Hellboy in the news yet again this week. They've cast actress Milla Jovovich, known for her Resident Evil tenure, as the Blood Queen for the subtitle they removed on the movie last week, supposedly. So,
well, that's cool. Milla Jovovich is cool. I like that she stuck with the Resident Evil franchise, even though it was kind of like subpar even from the start. But she's just like, nah, man, I'm going to keep doing this. A lot of people seem to really like him.
Yeah, I mean, it has an audience for sure. And I think her husband did most of them anyway.
Oh, so, okay, that explains it.
So, but I mean, she did all of them all the way through the end.
That means, she's got action chops. She's got an action resume. Whether or not those action movies were praised, she knows how to get up on like a rig and like fly around on wires, and she probably knows how to do a couple backflips. And
she's got like like an exotic look about her, and that's why she works in The Fifth Element as well. So I mean, I think this casting her as the villain in a series will be a good turn for her. So.
Yeah. Now I don't know if the Blood Queen does a whole lot of flipping and wire jumping, but
they will
find out.
They will now. will have to. It's in her contract. Every contract she has to do wire flips. So, but yeah, that's our news for the week. We got like I said, quite a bit there. We got a lot to look forward to, and that's exciting. I like looking forward to stuff. So.
Yeah, a lot of speculation. What streaming service will Hellboy be coming to?
Yeah, that is good. Is it even on any streaming service right now, Mike?
I feel like I think the first one is on Netflix, but I can't find the second one streaming anywhere. So I don't know if there's like a different distributor for that movie or what the deal is.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I don't know. Oh, well, in the meantime, Mike, if people want to find out what you're doing, where can they find you at?
Well, they can follow me at Mike Royer Design on Twitter and Instagram, and you can read my webcomics at pickledcomics.com. Chris, if people want to know about some sweet rare pops that you're picking up, where can they follow you?
You can find me on Twitter at Valdan, Valdan, and I'll link my Instagram there. You can read my stuff on Comic UI or check out my videos I do on the DNN. It's on YouTube and destinationcomics.com/DNN. If people want to learn more about us, Mike, this might be the first show. Where can they find more about Superhero Slate?
Well, as always, please visit superheroslate.com. That is the best place to find all the avenues that we host the show, and to also check out our sweet show notes. So if you don't want to track down like all these images and trailers that we talked about, and you don't want to have to go through the dreaded task of Googling everything, just check out our show notes at superheroslate.com. We are on iTunes, YouTube, Google Play Music, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Tumblr. You can subscribe and get us right in your email inbox every week, and you can like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to pick up some merch, you can get that at superheroslate.com/store. We got like some shirts, we got baseball tees, we got like mugs. I think there's even stickers on there now. I think we need to go look into that, but I think they got stickers there too. So maybe you can throw that on your bumper of your car. That'd be pretty sweet. But if you're a fan of the show, please consider leaving us a review wherever you listen to the show. That's like super helpful. Like you can review on iTunes, you can leave us stars. I believe you can review on like Stitcher. You can drop us like a comment, subscribe on YouTube. I believe that's the shtick that they say for YouTube. But if you're a super fan of the show, all you got to do is just share the show with a friend, share the show with a buddy, and we will be here every week, quite possibly twice next week for the spoiler cast for the Defenders. We'll keep you posted.
Yeah, we're definitely looking forward to getting the Defenders out from our belt. Man, I can't believe it's still here. And then kick off the fall. So I'm looking forward to it, and I guess we'll see you guys next week.
All right, goodbye, everybody.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.
Oh, I had Chipotle queso. I'll talk about that. I'll talk about Chipotle's queso. I'll talk about Galaxy Quest.